So we're back in the mount. I know last week I wasn't here. Unfortunately, Marissa had a splitting migraine and 3 small children, so I unfortunately had to be a husband last Tuesday, not a jiu-jitsu coach. So last time I was in here, we were working on mount escapes. This week we're going to work on some mount transitions. As far as, hey, I'm in the mount, but sometimes you just get a guy like Jordan who's just defensively sound here. So doing something to him is going to take a lot more time and effort than it's probably worth it. So we're going to work on a couple options on how to get to the back, how to really start working some of those traps and some of my favorite submissions, both in that transition and once you get to the back. So when I'm here, I always like, we're working, I'm doing things. I always like to kind of just hit that underhand to the back of his elbow. So when I'm there, I'm going to look to push that up, but I'm not trying to get his arm way across like we're going for that head and arm choke. Jordan's going to be too technically sound to stop that. All I'm looking to do is get his wrist next to his ear, here, because I want him to think about defending that. As soon as I see that, my other hand is going to come under, and I'm going to look for that wrist control. So once I get that wrist control, boom, this is the gift wrap. Once you have a good gift wrap, you're going to have options available to you. One of the simplest ones is just to walk him up and take his back. So when I'm here, I'm going to drop my shoulder underneath that tricep, and I'm going to look to roll him up. Once we're here, I'm going to post that same side foot in the mat. I'm going to look to pull Jordan up as I slide myself around him. Now, those of us who are limbically challenged, AKA you do not have long ass legs and can do this, you're going to look to put both feet in. Do not cross your feet. I'm going to remind you guys that unless you like walking boots, do not cross your feet, because if I cross my feet here, Jordan's going to cross his ankles, break both my ankles at the same time. It's a really cute fall accessory, but you do not want that. So I'm here, I'm working, I'm trying to get Jordan to do something, but all I'm really looking for is just that little pop-up. I don't need it way back here and tap. I need it here, boom, and to get behind it, to get that gift wrap. Now for me, I'm going to drop that weight behind it, because if he doesn't respect what I'm doing, I can start to set up that head and arm. But for me, all I'm going to do is pull this wrist and start working him up. I like to get to where my back's here, sit around, and start working for that back. Questions on that transition, because we're going to build, everything we work on today is going to build off of that. So we have to get to that good gift wrap, and we have to get to where we can transition to the back. So questions on that?
When you're doing the rotation,
Yeah.
I know to be safe you want to get your hooks in, but are you personally trying to go forward, like trapping that arm in the middle of transition when a lot of things are going on?
So to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, boom, I get here, boom. Are you talking about trapping this arm?
It's your foot that comes around.
I'm not particularly worried about that. To be honest, it's going to be not worth as much as most people think it is. Now, don't get me wrong. If I'm here and I happen to trap it, I'm not letting it go, but I'm not putting a ton of time or effort into trapping that arm unless I get to his back and he is just too defensively sound for me to do something without trapping. Like, very rarely am I going to look to trap that arm. The only time I'll really do it is if we end up in kind of this seated position. I'll start to kind of hand trap that way, but even then, very limited options once you get there.
If someone has a lot of resistance towards this arm, making it really hard to get it up, are there any more details you want to go over for that?
Yeah, so it's not so much that I'm trying, because if I try to push Jordan's arm up, he's naturally strong that way. I'm trying to push it there. Now, if you need help, like let's say, Asher's one of the bigger guys, like I'm not just arming this. Same thing, get your hips and your back behind it. So I'm here, get some chest pressure in there, and it's going to take a little bit of conniving, a little bit of, not fighting fair. I'm not just going to look to push with my arms here. I'm looking to get arms, head, chest, anything I can kind of behind that to reinforce. And I like to push with my hips when I'm in that mount. Because if I fight Jordan arm to arm, don't get me wrong, I'm, you know, too sexy right now. I can move some weight right now. But even then, not for long and not very far. So when I get here, I'm looking to get that and then reinforce it with that chest. Because then it's a lot easier to start working things. Boom. I come to that body triangle. If you do come to the body triangle, make sure you're locking on the ankle, not on your foot. Boom, here, not here. Realize that if they struggle right here, you can straight ankle lock yourself. And you're like, Dustin, how often have you seen that? Once, which was enough for me to not want to do it. So, other questions on this? All right, chill her out. 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to start doing violent things to our friends because that's why we're here. So boom, I get here, I get my gift wrap, I get here, I start setting Jordan up. And let's just say Jordan's a little more difficult and I'm just not confident I can get to the back quickly or easily. So we're going to start working 2 options. I'm going to show you a no-gi option and a gi option. No-gi option. All we're going to do, I'm going to feed this hand in underneath his elbow and I'm going to look to make a fist right next to his ear. Now, all we're going to look to do is drive our fist down and pull his neck or his wrist around. So I'm here. I'm not just pulling it over. I'm pulling it kind of like I'm trying to loop around here. As I do that, I'm going to come here and reinforce. It's not a pleasant choke. This is for a I need new enemies type of move. You know, sometimes you need those. So I'm here. Boom. I like to hit this one. Especially if I know the guy's going to be tough, I'll just sneak this hand in just in case. Because it feels like I'm trying to do something else here, which is what a lot of people think. So that way when I get him up here, I get here.
Are you still windshield wiper behind him?
Yeah,
Okay.
here.
So you're kind of pulling him up into your lap.
Boom. Hammer fist down. I'm big dumb gorilla man. I hammer fist down at his neck. And I'm trying not to pull his arm down, not to pull it back. I'm down and around. And that's where the choke comes in, okay? Now, if you're civilized and wearing pajamas, you get to do much more fun things. So boom, I get Jordan here. Instead of grabbing or feeding that wrist in, I'm gonna look to grab that collar. I'm gonna snap it tight. As soon as I snap it tight, I'm gonna move it here and switch it into my hand. As soon as that hand makes connection here, you have 2 options. I like to just snap this elbow up. I'm gonna loosen this so Jordan doesn't die. All right. Boom. And you're gonna look to slide your knee inside your elbow. Little bow, little arrow. It's a nice choke. So we're here, boom, I get here, I get to that gift wrap. I start working Jordan up, and for whatever reason, I'm just not confident in getting to the back. Maybe Jordan's starting to base out, maybe he's getting squirmy. There's all sorts of things that Jordan's inconvenient ass is gonna do, right? Boom. All we're gonna look to do, feed that collar around here. Good solid grip. I like to sit here, and if you want, like I said, big thing, either scoop that elbow or scoop the knee. I don't care which. Little bit of it's going to be situational, little bit of it's going to be preference. I prefer to scoop the knee, gives me more leverage and allows me to kind of really draw that bow back. But I do like the elbow for transition. So if I'm here and I don't like what's happening, there is some transitional options that aren't there when you grab the pant leg. But I don't feel like you have as much leverage as grabbing the leg. So dealer's choice on that, both are right. It's just your game and the situation that dictates which is better. Questions on either of those? Other than again. So I'm here with Jordan. Boom, I gift wrap, I get him up. For me, that first choke, I'm gonna look to just bring it in here. Boom. As soon as I get here, hammer fist down, down and around. If you need to, same type of position, sitting back like you're hitting that bow and arrow.
So you kind of swing it in.
Yeah. Now, for the gi version for civilized folk, boom, I sit him up, I trade hands here, windshield wiper that knee in, pull, push, pull, or pull, pull. Alright?
What's he going to be doing defensively?
If he's smart, turning into you. So, what happens to most people is they panic because they don't realize what's happening. They try to roll away from you. Which, if Jordan does, I'm going to loosen this up so Jordan can breathe. If Jordan does that, he's running into the choke. Smart people, and the reason you put this knee here, is so that you can still transition. Because even loose, once I transitioned that, it tightened up for Jordan. So, smart people should be turning into you and hand fighting. But, I mean, we do have people, so not everyone's going to be smart. Questions?
Can you show how you're getting that wrist in on the no? I mean, obviously, like
Yeah.
with the gi, it's going to cause more friction on a no gi choke.
Yeah, so a couple things you can do. One, if you know, so planning ahead can help some. So if I know I'm going to go here, I'll sneak it in before I start transitioning up because he thinks I'm trying to grab like collars and things, so he'll start kind of looking for things differently, and that helps. But if I get him to here and I'm wanting to do that, one of the big things you can do is kind of a push-pull. Kind of sneak it in that way. The other thing I like to do a lot with this one is I'll really start to pull that, so that way when he pulls his wrist out, it allows you to sneak that back in.
And then is it more preferential when you're grabbing the shoulder as opposed to your arm kind of thing?
No, you want to be hammer fisting down. At best, if you want to grab something, I would grab the behind wrist.
Okay.
I would grab back there if you need the leverage from somewhere. Other questions?
So the uncivilized way, you're grabbing your own wrist to get leverage?
Yes, you can. Yep, on that one, if you're feeling like, man, Jordan's a tough kid, I just can't get the leverage I need. Sometimes you can go in there, and if you really need leverage, you can insert that knee to help create that space.
One more thing. Can I see your handle on the choke when you do the gi choke?
For the gi choke. So when you're here, snap that collar straight, feed it in, thumb in, and then I'm trying to cut his throat with my thumb.
How many minutes we do on the round? Huh?
So
How many minutes we do on the round?
even with a loose choke, like I'm halfway down his collar right now. If I snap that and get it right, I can still get it. So the nice part is if you snap it tight
Anybody else?
and grab where you're supposed to,
Today, how many minutes?
Jordan's already in trouble and I don't have any reinforcement in this.
How many minutes?
Just here, he's in real big trouble.
How many minutes we do?
By the time I get to here, he's not having a good day.
That blood and
Nobody gonna say?
Yes, so anatomy of the choke, right? 2 blood, 1 air.
How much time?
Ideally, this collar is getting blood.
No.
It's starting to pull air and your wrist on the back should be getting the blood side.
Right? 3 minutes.
So it should be a 3 for 3, which is why this is a pretty
Right?
violent choke in a hurry.
Everybody go.
if you don't
Plus
have
one.
it, if you don't
Plus
have it,
one.
it's gonna look like
Plus
courageous,
one.
Generally, if you don't have it, it's going to be loose collared or he's going to be tucked
You
chin.
came up to me and said
So like if I'm
something,
here and I'm,
push up stuff you.
what in the world is going on? Okay, it's under his chin.
Head up, look up.
At that point,
Oh, I see.
Look up.
now I can take it back because he's more worried about being choked than he is giving up his back. Then you can re-go if you want. Generally, that's going to be the 2 things, is tucked chin or loose collar.
And if it's the tuck chin, you just pull it back.
Sit them back, take their back. Realize the end of all this is if it's not working, just take their back. Progress. All right? Other questions? Those are all good questions, guys. That's the type of stuff we need.
Is it legal to, if they're tucking the chin, to take their collar under their nose and go?
That's a them problem, not a you problem. We signed up here to make friends, not at competitions. So If they in the competition decide that tucking their chin is more important than giving up that choke, it's between them and their God. What he's asking is, if I get to here and Jordan's a real pain in the butt, can I just start cranking it this way? Between them and their God. Do it. I was going for a choke. Alright. 1, 2, 3. So I'm here. Pop, I gift wrap, good things are happening. I start to drive him over. I come to this position. Some people will call this combat mount or gift wrap. I don't care which you call it. Either way, it's fine. Boom. But I get here. Let's say I'm not comfortable with that transition, and Jordan's a tough kid, so choking him is going to be pretty rough for me, right? That happens sometimes. You just get guys who are tough and hard to choke. So all we're going to do is, instead of transitioning this hand in, or I like to hit this as a 1-2 punch, I'll hit this, and if it doesn't work, boom. I'm going to lean over Jordan's hips, keeping my gift wrap hand, sneaking this hand from the neck to that Kimura grip. I'm going to lean. My foot is going to do that windshield wiper motion. That way it can swivel over his neck. Now you're in arm bar. Break using the bottom side leg. Pop. Fall back. Break the arm. So, a couple of the details we're going to mess up. Because I believe in you. But, you know, you're going to mess them up. 1, when I get here, a lot of you guys are going to lean way too far forward, or you're not going to lean towards the hips. I'm leaning over his hips and ribs so that he has to carry my weight, and so that the weight comes off my back leg. If I'm here and I try to windshield wiper, it's not impossible, but it's not probable either. So when I'm here, I lean. Now all the weight's off this leg. I don't have to do anything. It can do whatever it wants. The other thing, we are not high stepping over. Windshield wiper, keep it right there. Low. Your hips should never leave the weight of him. The other thing a lot of you are going to do. 1, either try to break the grip with the top leg, which is wrong, because Jordan will do that. Or you'll break the grip and then you'll pull his elbow. For some reason, y'all think that pulling the elbow is going to work. Fight him at his wrist. Archimedes' principle, give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, I can move the world. I fight you at the end of the lever. If I fight you in the middle, it's not going to work. I have to fight you at the end. Pinch the knees, raise the hips. Questions on the details. Arm bars are simple, they are not easy. No questions. Yes.
Can you do that?
We are gift wrapped. Here, right? I like to sneak this in as a 1-2 punch. So I'm here, it's not working, my elbow just transitions off, and you literally just grab the wrist. Because once you're here, you have an arm bar, it's just when do you want to take it? Not generally from this position, only because if I try to come up and over this way, you're not in good positional to come this way. You're just not in a good spot. That is an option, I just don't think you're in good position to do it. But we're here, lean over, leg low, boom. Bottom leg, if you have to fight grips, bottom leg. Keep this leg heavy on his head. Bottom leg fights. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? All right, I'm gonna watch you all mess it up because you didn't ask enough questions. 1, 2, 3.